Welcome to the Sisters Like Us podcast. I'm Lakin.
And I'm Allie, and we're here to share our perspectives as sisters from two different generations.
So grab a glass of wine
Or a bottle.
and let's dive in. Welcome to episode 1 of the Sisters Like Us podcast.
Oh my God.
And we're actually doing this.
Yeah.
We are actually doing this. So we are on YouTube for those of you who want to watch there and be able to see us. No promises, no fancy graphics, but there is a visual option if you want that, or in wherever you listen to podcasts. But let's kick it off with just introducing ourselves so you can get to know us. My name is Lakin, and I am the older sister.
I'm Allie, and I'm the younger sister.
We are 9 years apart, and we are smack dab in two separate generations. I am hardcore millennial, and you are very Gen Z.
Gen Z. As Gen Z as they come.
So we have random conversations all the time about different things and thought it would be fun to bring you along.
Yeah, we've been wanting to do this forever, but finding a name was just the actual hardest part.
It really was. And then also, living in the same city.
Yeah, well, now we're together, but,
Not that you couldn't have done it, I guess, technologically in two different cities, but it makes it so much more fun to sit here and do it in person.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this first episode is not quite what we had planned.
Yeah, so if you've noticed from our logo, we have little wine glasses, and from our intro, we mentioned wine. But it's a little early, so we're deciding to stick to coffee today.
It's a little early in the day, and I am also 29 weeks pregnant.
Yeah,
so there's no wine for me today.
A big factor, but in the future, I will definitely be drinking wine.
Yes.
So, and as will you.
In terms of what we're going for, we are just going to talk about a variety of topics. Eventually, we will probably ask you for questions, topic suggestions, maybe advice for dealing with different generations. Mm-hmm. And then ultimately, we probably will bring a number of our family members on as guests to talk about their experiences too. So let's just kick it off with a little bit of backstory about who we are, where we come from. There's also a lot of other siblings involved, but we are the only...
Lots of other family members. And parents.
Lots of parents involved. Different generations there too. So I will start as the older sister. We are originally from San Antonio, Texas. So my parents had me when they were very young. They were in college. They separated pretty quickly after I was born, and that is when my mom moved on to husband number 2. First off, she had our brother. So he is 6 years younger than me.
Parker.
Yeah, Parker. And then they had Allie. And so we share the same mom, but we have two very different dads. Also, speaking of generations, because my dad is very young and is Gen X, and your dad,
I don't even know which generation.
He's a boomer.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, he's a boomer.
He was born in 52.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we also have that differing experience as well.
That's true.
That I
will say, though, they do have some similarities physically.
Trying to throw mom under the bus. Mom has a type. It's okay. It's fine.
Gosh.
So we lived in San Antonio until we were 12 and 3, respectively. Mm-hmm. And then we moved up to the suburbs of Chicago.
And you can definitely say you're from Texas. I can't really say I'm from Texas.
Yeah, you try.
I stopped saying it, like, when people were like, no, like, you're not. Like, you don't. Like, I don't know enough about Texas to be like, oh, yeah, like, I was born there. Like, if I talk about it, it's like if someone else is like, oh, I'm from Texas. And I'm like, oh my God, same. But, like, I'm not.
Your birth certificate may say San Antonio, but you were 3 when we left.
Yeah.
And when we left, my dad still lived down there. And so I did also go back to San Antonio a lot to visit him, whereas you didn't have to do that.
So we moved here, and then upon moving here, then our mom and my dad separated. But they lived really close to each other, which was super convenient. And yeah.
And then our mom found husband number 3, hopefully. Third time is a charm.
It really is a charm.
It really is. They are perfect together.
They met when I was 7.
Yeah, you were a little 8. I was 17.
Okay.
So you must have been 8, yeah. Yeah, wow. I actually didn't even realize, because like he is my stepdad. He is an incredible man, but I was 17. I was pretty grown. You were 8.
Yeah.
That is young.
Yeah. He had already had 3 kids, and there were 3 boys. So Lakin was like, eventually, very soon after, like, went to college, and so I was then stuck with 4 boys. 3 new brothers.
Yeah.
So, and not to mention, one of them is younger, so I lost the youngest spot, which was very hard for me.
I think that's the hardest part of the whole situation. You went from being the baby to no longer being the baby.
Oh, I was still the baby. Just in a different way.
different way. So like she said, pretty shortly after our mom married our stepdad, I was in college, which I went back to Texas for school. And then 9 years later, you went off to college.
Yeah, that's like a big thing that like I feel like we'll talk about is like when we were younger, because I feel like me being 9 and having or 8 and 9 and you being 18, like we'll talk about that later. But it's just like it's a big that at that time is like a big
it's a huge. I mean, 9 years and 9 and 18 are very, very different. Now that we are, I guess we could have started with this. Now that we're 23 and 32. 9 suddenly feels a lot closer together.
Yes, because I just feel like we relate to more now. It's just hard. Like if I was like 15 and you were 19, or let's just say it was like that close of an age gap, then like, when I'm going through puberty and like all of those things, it would have been nice,
I would have been closer.
Right, exactly. Anyways, so 9 years later, I went to DePaul University in Chicago.
And at the same time, our mom decided that she did not want to live in the suburbs anymore.
Yes.
So they sold the house in the burbs and moved to the city of Chicago. Mm-hmm. And now we're all here. Not quite all of us, but most of us.
Most of us,
all live in this little bubble in Lakeview/Lincoln Park.
It is fun. It's a good time.
Our family, I feel like, is very close. Like in terms of like our immediate family, like we don't have a ton of extended family, and maybe we could do a whole nother episode on like our extended family experiences, but we don't have a ton of extended family, but our immediate family, our parents and our siblings, we're all very close.
Yeah. And my dad, he's a professor at DePaul. So that's a good portion of the reason why I went there. Yeah. But he is still in Naperville, and he also got remarried. So
I guess to finish out our individual stories. So obviously that's the family that we have in common, our mom and then all of those siblings. But then, your dad.
Yeah, my dad got remarried in 2012. I have a stepsister now from that side as well. And he moved like to a bigger house because before we were in like a townhouse, and we moved just the opposite direction. But
same distance
from mom. Like still like, a 5-minute walk. But yeah.
And then my dad went and got remarried. Actually, this is like, we could have done this, I guess, way back in the story. It was actually the same week that Allie was born. So I was 9 years old, and Allie was born on Monday. And then on Saturday, my dad and my stepmom got married.
I didn't even know I was born on a Monday.
Oh, yeah. You were a scheduled C-section. Mom got that in.
Well, it worked out because my 21st was on a Saturday, so.
So it was mine because I was also born on a Monday. Okay. Well, I guess it doesn't always work out that way with leap years, but yeah. Note to future parents planning that if you have a child on a Monday, their 21st, mine was a Sunday. It'll fall on a weekend.
Basically. Yeah.
I was 9 years old. I got a baby sister and a stepmom all in the same week. And they went on to have 3 boys of their own. Mm-hmm. So I have 3 brothers on that side as well. So I total at 7 brothers. It's just a lot. And I also think that also lends itself to also our relationship because of all of these siblings. Mm-hmm. You're my only sister.
Yeah.
I'm just surrounded by all these other boys. So
it's a good time.
I feel like that also lends. Although we are getting a new sister soon. One of our brothers just recently got engaged.
Yes.
So we are getting a new sister soon. We'll definitely have to have her as a guest because she is fantastic and we are very thankful.
Yeah. They've been together for a really long time now, and they're perfect.
Yeah.
We love them.
And she's a good fit for our...
She really is. Yeah. She can handle it.
That's also true.
Lots of personalities. We got lots of big zodiac signs, I feel like, if that makes sense.
I feel like that could be its own episode. Like
for real.
Zodiac and astrology.
My dad, our mom, and me are all Geminis, but we're all different Geminis. Like, literally.
Your and mom are kind of similar.
I know. Yeah. We'll talk. We'll talk about that.
So that's another interesting thing I think that is helpful to know about us, and depending on where you came from or how you found us, you might know this, but we are both very close with our mom. Mm-hmm. And that I feel like is not always the case. And some siblings I feel like might bond over not being close with their parents, whereas I think we both bond from also being very close with mom, and we she's our best friend and we tell her everything. Yeah. So I feel like that also
quite literally everything.
Yeah. Maybe too much.
Because sometimes
you especially.
Yeah, with my friends and stuff, I'm like, like, I'll, like, tell them something, and I'll be like, yeah, like, I told my mom, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, wait, why would you tell your mom that? And I'm like, well.
She's my best friend.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. The best advice sometimes comes from your mom, so.
Very true.
Actually, not sometimes. It usually does.
Yeah, usually, yes.
Yes.
I hope my daughter feels the same way.
Yes. Yeah.
But mom is, you know what? Actually, I also did that math. I will be the same age when I have my daughter that mom was when she had you.
Oh.
And I feel like that's really cool because sometimes I think like I'm going to be an older mom, which is silly, but like it's a thought that I have because my mom was so young when she had me that I was like, I'm going to be 32 when I have my daughter, but that's how old mom was when she had you.
Yeah. I feel like, honestly, to kind of touch on that, like, I feel like people are actually having kids now around that age.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, a couple years ago, it was, like, people were having kids so early, like, 26, 27. But I think now it's becoming more common to, like, 30, 31, 32.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think that's it. I feel like it swings back and forth. Yeah. Like, between when, and that is a conversation I feel like we could have. I knew this was going to happen where we were going to record conversations, which is basically what these are. And we were going to come up with episode idea after episode idea of like other topics that we could talk about. Yeah. Because it's just there's so many things that differ, I feel like.
Yeah. 100%.
But then there's also things that I think you and I have in common. Yeah. That we will also talk about. Mm-hmm. And whether that's because we differ from our parents' generations or just things we still have in common. So let's maybe talk a little bit about what we do now, like what we majored in, what we do now. I will kick it off. I was actually a math major in college. I studied actuarial science to be an actuary, which I did for 9 years. I moved to New York City to be an actuary. But during the shutdown, I had a lot of extra time to build a business. That brings me a heck of a lot more joy than crunching numbers on a spreadsheet. Now, don't get me wrong. I still love a good spreadsheet, but that's something we have in common. But I didn't want to do it for a living anymore. So now I have my own business where I focus on helping people achieve their personal goals. So I have a membership and a course and all kinds of things. I'm very thankful to have that flexibility when I do become a mom. Yeah. And not having to worry about going to a flexible schedule. Yes.
Well, I went to DePaul. I was pretty set on becoming a teacher. Yeah. That was the dream. I was going to major in early childhood education, which I did for a year. And then I just kind of got to the point where, unfortunately, if I'm honest, like, money was like probably the biggest reason why I changed paths. But something about me is my dream job has always been a wedding planner. And so I was like, you know what, like, why don't I just go for it? So in case that didn't work out, I decided to major in PR and advertising, which is public relations and advertising. And then I minored in event planning and soon added a business minor because a dream of mine would be to have my own business, like wedding planning business. But I found junior year, I found an internship and I worked for a wedding planning company for almost 2 years. And then now I'm with a venue, which is exciting, that has a wedding planning service. So yeah, I am a wedding planner, which is just awesome. I love it so much.
I feel like I just need to add the commentary that teachers are freaking amazing and vastly underpaid and 100%. Underappreciated for what they do for the future of America.
Yeah. It was so sad because I do think that like I would fully enjoy that job so much. And like with COVID and stuff and like I can't imagine like how it like mentally like and overall I just know it's a mentally draining job.
Yes. You're enjoying your wedding planning.
I do enjoy it a lot. It's definitely hard. And I do have to give up a lot of my weekends, but I love it. Good. So it's worth it for me.
I feel like that's pretty much it about us.
Yeah. I feel like we'll dive in, like you'll learn a lot more, like the more we just like dive into things. Yeah. Like especially about us and like our relationship.
We just kind of wanted to start with a background and where we came from and where we are now in our lives.
We're very excited about this.
And we have lots of ideas and lots of episodes planned. So make sure you follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. Click subscribe if you're watching here on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And we will be back in your earbuds very soon.
Yeah, we're so excited.